what I know about sugar plantations, tobacco, and the Caribbean, what I know about American chattel slavery and the plantations there, does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves? Anybody remember sending in the therapist after I sold off your son, daughter, raped folks? At any point? Never. Second question. After slavery was officially over, now you're free. Anybody remember any therapy then? We know it's been rough, it's been deep for you, it's been difficult. We're going to do a little group therapy. Anybody remember that? That would be no. Number 3, after slavery officially ended, both in the States, in the Caribbean, the British, do you remember whether or not trauma continued? Did the trauma continue for people of African descent? I need to know. Okay, so now let's do the math. Hundreds of years of trauma, no treatment. Freed, more trauma, no treatment. What do you do the math? Do you think there may be residual impacts of that trauma? Of course there is. It didn't end, friends, and it hasn't ended yet. So I think on one point, African people and people of African descent are extremely resilient. Matter of fact, I think we're a miracle. Far be it for us to pathologize or to look and cast this idea of weak and sick people. Oh, on the contrary, I'm profoundly resilient because we've done everything we've done thus far with no help, with not even the ability to have this discussion. As though it were possible, we escaped injury in all those hundreds of years.
My bad, everybody. Welcome to a brand new podcast for me. It's called You Left Shit Out. And I think I'm going to be starting these episodes with different videos like that. Just been discovering a lot of great video content on Twitter. And I want to share that with everybody. So started out with that video, very, very profound video about the trauma, African descendants of slaves, the trauma experienced in the United States. So just wanted to start with that. So let me show you you saw this, I'll put it back up on the screen. So I think I'm going to go with this as my logo. It covers the major networks, and then I added the old left. Now, I don't use boutique left. Friend of the show, Case Study QB, told me that's a slur, so that's why I choose not to use it. I don't make any judgment on anyone who uses it. But yeah, I think I like the logo. And let me show you the post, and then we'll get into the topics and everything today. But since this is my first episode, I wanted to kind of cover these other items here. So just a little close-up of it. Let me see what it looks like on the screen. Oh, I don't have it up yet. There we go. So let me see a little close-up. You left shit out. I made it PG-13 by Xing out the word shit in the graphic, just because. And then that means every weekday you will see me here, unless it's a special occasion, some sort of special coverage or something like that. I will be here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Now, the thing about this show is it's not necessarily going to be a 2-hour stream. I'm going to cover certain topics, maybe talk a little bit to everybody in the chat, and then from there I'll be out. So we're looking at maybe 60 minutes. Okay, it looks good. I wanted to see what it looks like on the screen. Okay, that looks great. All right, so let's take that off the screen and let's talk about, or let me introduce the topics for today. Let's see here. I have it up here somewhere. There we go. So we're going to talk about the Joe Rogan saga. So I'm on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter like that. Like what black people would say on Twitter. When you repeat the word, that just means very or extra. So I'm not on Twitter like that. So I guess I heard from RBN brother Nick, or saw his tweet about things are getting out of control with all of this Joe Rogan stuff. So, I just kind of wanted to cover overall with the Joe Rogan saga, what's going on. Then we'll talk about Cenk Uygur's calling out leftists or anti-war leftists as why would I add that caveat? If you're a leftist, you're anti-war. So I don't need to say anti-war leftists. It's just leftists. So he's calling out leftists because he's not one, but he's cosplaying as a leftist. So he's calling out leftists as anti-war and immature, don't know what's going on, don't understand, all the same sort of critiques. Then we'll talk about, I guess Shaq was in the news. I just saw this. Maybe it's been out for a while, but I just saw this last night. Shaq voicing his opinion on vaccination mandates. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also discuss Pramila Jayapal's tweet, a sort of open endorsement, sort of open pat on the back, the opponent of Nina Turner. And so we'll discuss that dynamic. And then, of course, I know everybody has seen the Ned Price, or Edward Ned Price is his full name, but Ned Price video with the reporter when he's trying to propagandize us with his Ukraine-Russia conflict propaganda. So we'll discuss that. Sandra Bland's birthday. So we'll just give a shout out to Sandra Bland, talk about her, a couple of tweets put up there. And then if we have time, as the funny story, because these stories, I don't follow these people enough. The Vouches, maybe that's how you say it, the Vouches, the Hassans. I don't follow him enough to know, but I guess he bought a car, so I'll throw up some tweets that people put up, and we can discuss. Hopefully, we can get to all of that within an hour, maybe a little over an hour. But that is the topics for today. Please subscribe to our channel if you like the content. Like this video, share this video on whatever platform. Share it on Discord. Share the link wherever you're at. Welcome to Rockfin. I think this is the first time I'm streaming on Rockfin. I think it's up. Is it? Yeah, it's up. So this is the first time I'm streaming on Rockfin. So shout out to everyone who's watching on Rockfin. I think this is the first. Oh, besides the General Strike Summit, any of my own content, this is my first stream on Rockfin. So welcome those on Rockfin. And I think I covered all the stuff I needed to cover for my first show. It won't be this long normally. Just my first show. I need to cover quite a bit of items. Before we get into the topics, let me make sure I covered everything. Subscribe, like. I will be tweeting out the link to this in just a second. Okay, so now let's get to. I do want to start with the Cenk Uygur item. So let's start there. Let me pull up his video or the footage. Actually, I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna play our video, so we don't have any copyright problems. I hope we don't with this. So I'll play our video that we did. Nick and I did on our show, the Nick and CJ show on Mondays, and we'll take it. And then we'll comment on the other side. Let's see here.
I don't care who it is, every oligarch, anything related to Putin Putin, given the size.
So this is Cenk Uygur calling out what he called anti-war leftists because they're not serious, or as if there's a small minority in the leftist movement, like the anti-war leftists, if you want to. I'm using his term, not mine. As if that's like the minority when he is in the minority, if you want to call him a leftist, which I don't. So let's look at this footage of us covering a video on that show, and then you'll hear sort of Nick's critique, and then I'll go ahead and follow up with mine. So let's play. Ooh, where are we at here? Let's play the video.
Given the size of the massive violation of international law in this case, if they cross the border and actually try to take the country, obviously you freeze all Russian assets all across the world. I don't care who it is, every oligarch, anything related to Putin, seize. Now, again, there'll be some idiots not idiots, to be fair, they're grifters. And I don't know who they're working for, some portion of them, but they'll pretend that people pretending to be on the left, okay? And maybe a couple of people who actually are on the left and are, don't understand world politics at all, who are like, oh my God, freezing the assets of oligarchs. That's so warlike. Him taking Ukraine with 175,000 troops is not warlike, but freezing their assets is? Are you insane? Right? So, and what about the people of Ukraine? Do they count? Are they human beings? As a progressive, do you care about them? Do you care about their freedom? Do you care about their rights? Right? So now once you get beyond freezing the assets, that's when it gets impossible.
Right.
Because what are you going to do, start a war with Russia?
He's saying that if you're anti-war, you're a grifter. You're a grifter if you're anti-war. So this video is this is one of the most insane videos I've seen from Cenk Uygur. Because you see how he was simping for neo-Nazis? He was simping for neo-Nazis. What about Ukrainian people? Oh, you mean the ones that we arm neo-Nazis to hijack the country and overthrow the country like we have done? You mean that country? Yeah, but I literally, every single thing he said in that video was wrong. And he was like, oh, if we don't let this happen, China would take Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. This motherfucker is the dumbest person I have ever seen. I cannot believe.
Nick, do you think he's doing it on purpose, or you think he's just not informed? That's what I can't tell from him.
And I can't wait to talk to Caleb about this, but he's 100% a pro-war asset. Because he was like, remember, he repeating the talking point from the Biden administration. I just shared with you how people are not buying this hysteria. But look at what he leaves the video. He leaves the video with if Russia invades. If Russia, he's repeating Anthony Blinken, State Department talking point.
Absolutely, brother Nick. Absolutely, I agree. So let me cover. There's there was a lot in there. So I want to touch on the grifter comment, touch on the work for comment, touch on that don't understand and on purpose. So, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I thought, well, I don't want to discuss the definition of grifter, but I mean, almost by definition, isn't Cenk Uygur a grifter? Now, I don't know if there's an official definition of grifter. Let me look. I'll get to the comments. I'm sure some of you have some definitions, but let me see if there's a real definition. Okay. Well, I guess there is. A person who engages in petty or small scale swindling? Wow. So anti-war people are the swindlers. What do anti-war people have to gain financially? I mean, like Cenk Uygur is quite frankly the poster child for grifter. Started out being progressive is what I'm told. I didn't follow him back then, so I don't know. Started out being Republican, then became a progressive. But I don't know. Sometimes it seems like he has a lot of the same beliefs as he had maybe when he was a Republican. So anyway, he goes from being progressive, builds this network, TYT, Then goes ahead and gets bought out by, I think his name Jeffrey Katz. I forget his full name, but Jeffrey K. Venture capitalists, like some to the tune of $20 million or more. And we're the drifters. We're the grifters. I'm sorry, grifters. It's amazing. And work for. You are the one who was paid. You're the one who got millions upon millions of dollars. You are the one that is corporate media. So who do you work for? Venture capitalists, Wall Street. I mean, I haven't heard of this this anti-war lobby that's that's just shelling out millions of dollars to people to grift against war. It's absurd. And then this is one that a lot of elites, a lot of people bought into the system or have a stake in the duopoly system say they just don't understand. You can read all the information and come to a different conclusion, but you just don't understand. If you come to any other conclusion than theirs, you just don't understand. How I read that, you tell me if I'm wrong. How I read that is, I haven't given up on breaking down this system. That's what I don't understand. Like, I'm not understanding that this system is here to stay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go along with it. That's how I read it. Because typically that's when I get that. It's like, no. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Now, on purpose, this is the one I really wanted to get to. So, on purpose, this is where I want to go to the comments. Do we think Cenk is doing this on purpose? Okay, so already saw a great comment. That's the full name of his backer. I know his name is Jeff. No, I believe that is it. Katzenberg. Yes, I believe that is it. Here it goes. If Cenk wants a war, then he should join the army and go. Great point. A lot of these, how many of these people are pushing war actually has the ability, opportunity to go to war? How many of these people are older people, past what they would call military combat age? I forget what that is, something like in the 40, 45, 50s or something like that. When I was speaking to somebody in the military, they were telling me something like that. I forget, but if somebody knows the official amount, put it in the comments. So yeah, these people aren't the ones going to war. That's a great point. Another person just verifying the name. Thank you for that. Why wasting time on Cenk and Rogan? That's a great question. Wasting time because idiots are talking about it. I'm not going to say idiots because not everybody who's talking about it's idiots, but the people who are referred to as idiots, the ones who are trying to push this tug of war fight between people to divide people. That's who I'm referring to. And I hate these topics. That's why you don't see me talking about these topics regularly. Like Hassan, like Vaxx, I think his name is Vaxx. The problem is the left, or a lot of the left, or some of the left, is still invested in these narratives. So I do want to address them because I get a lot of, well, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? Because I don't comment on them. So I will be doing that with this show. That is something different. I will be briefly talking about these. That's another reason why this show has to be short, because I'm doing topics not necessarily that I would cover. I like covering more in-depth topics, like how does trauma, like how does oppression affect you traumatically, things like that. Those are the topics I like to discuss. But anyway, here we go. Grifters, great movie with John Cusack, Anthony Benning, and Angelica Houston. Great John Cusack is a great. I guess he's a good actor, but he's actually a grifter in real life. That guy. He says all the leftist stuff and then proceeds to usher people back to the Democratic Party. So I'm good on him. Follow RBN. What's up, Robin? Thank you, Robin. Always throwing up those links for us to give to everybody. Yeah, TYT is worse than mainstream media, or I would call it corporate stream media now, because we are mainstream. Our voices are what's mainstream. They're just corporate. They are worse because this, in the same reason to me the Democrats are worse, is because you're playing as if you're the good guys. You're playing as if you're the real leftist when you're just a liberal espousing leftist views that you know is never going to get passed through legislation. So, you know, that's what I think. So anyway, let's move to the next story. I wasn't supposed to spend that long on this story. Let's go to the Joe Rogan story. There's not a lot. There's no like footage or anything to show here. It's just a topic I wanted to talk about. And I'm talking about it from a different perspective. I'm not here to talk about the actual events in this. I took a step back on this topic. Okay. I'm sorry. Did somebody send a super chat? Somebody said my super chat. I didn't see it. Let me refresh this here. Wow. Didn't see a super. Oh, because I just checked the notes. I didn't scroll all the way up. Sorry. Oh, this one here. Say what? Calling someone boutique left is a slur. Well, that's what Case Study QB, when we had him on for the General Strike Summit. I think it wasn't on camera. Oh no, it was on camera at some point. He did mention that. So what's unique about Case Study QB? He's totally a leftist, completely down. But you know, his work, the clips that he clip out, or these snippets of clips that he curates from or gets from corporate media, is used by people like, you know, Dave Dole, people like you know, Humanist Report, people like Sam Cedar. They use some of his clips, so he knows them and he knows us. So, you know, he's kind of saying like, you guys have the same sort of policy beliefs, so there's a lot of overlap. It's just a difference in strategy, and that's when, you know, he kind of told us, hey, this is a slur. So that's when I said, you know, I'll refrain from saying it. So that's what I was told. I'm just, you know, kind of just passing on the information from somebody who speaks with them regularly. So yeah. Yes, Cenk is an old Republican. So is Elizabeth Warren. So is Hillary Clinton. Seems like a pattern there. So trippy watching CJ on several screens. I like that in the back. I can take it off if it really bothers people, but I usually like to put on other episodes, but I don't have my remote. I guess I can control it with my phone too. Just so you don't have that, but yeah, I hope that you're still able to focus on what I'm saying. So anyway, let's switch stories. I forgot what I was saying about Cenk, but let's switch stories. Oh, and did I put this on the screen? If I didn't, let's do it now, just so we can get the official meaning out. I do that sometimes. I'll read thinking it's on the screen and it's not. So grifter, a person who engages in petty or small scale swindling. Swindling to me involves money. And like I said, I don't know any anti-war lobbyists. I don't know any. So, you know, the analogy is falls flat from Cenk. But let's move on from Cenk. Let's go to Rogan. And I'm gonna see if there's anything new on Rogan. I'm commenting on this as a person who isn't covering it as much as everybody, but I'll put RBN brother Nick's tweet up. How about that for this Joe Rogan story? So what I want to say about this is just I took a step back and let me read the tweet first. This Joe Rogan Culture War is one of the dumbest I've seen in a while. People are turning this into a battle of free speech while our government is actually cracking down on the First Amendment with anti-BDS and anti-CRT laws, which target Black authors. People are silent. Then he goes on, don't get me started on the journalists the U.S. targets like Julian Assange that these culture warriors are silent on. Exactly. And just to further Nick's point, broadly speaking, and this goes to what I wanted to talk about on this. And I'm talking to everybody, including our white allies, in critiquing your white counterparts who aren't our allies. The dominant culture aren't being brutalized by the police. The dominant culture aren't working paycheck to paycheck. The dominant culture isn't, getting paid $7.25 an hour. So what does the dominant culture have to talk about? This type of stuff. This is the type of stuff that a dominant culture who's not struggling talks about. You won't see this in the indigenous community, this topic. They have an array of other topics, things that's going on that is a million times more important than this garbage. So they're not talking about that. If it comes up, oh, Joe Rogan said that, oh, fuck that nigga. Back to the shit. Back to life. Not spending this time and arguing back and forth. It shows you the time the dominant culture has in this bullshit because they don't have a struggle. So, it's also this sort of topic picking also happens in the leftist media sphere because it's primarily dominated at the top. The most popular people are white, rich, and most of them are male. So because of that, there isn't a broader leftist movement discussion on defund the police or any array, Medicare for all. They have it. Why are they going to talk about something that they already have all the time? They'll talk about it here and there. Why are they going to talk about that every time? You go on RBN and see how many videos you find about police. You go on there and see how many videos you find about imperialism. There's a ton of stuff. The topic selection, the narrative that's going on tells me a whole lot about the dominant culture. So that's what I have to say about this. Let me see this here. I can't believe no one else is saying this. I'm not a usual viewer, but credit where credit due. Thank you for pointing this dumb shit out. Yes. So you agree. Thank you, Pat King. And thank you for popping in. hopefully you'll stay and check out some of our content. And let me go to this here. CJ said the N-word. Remember, Kyle Kalinske said there's no difference ending the GG. Yeah, I did say the N-word. I mean, if y'all knew me in real life, like that's regular language for me. It's just that I don't unnecessarily use it. In my opinion, I use it when it's applicable, and typically when you're talking about politics, there's not a person or a person I would use it for, and that's the reason why you don't hear it. It's not like I'm refraining from talking about it, but yes, I did. Maybe this show you'll get a lot of different angles of me here, see a lot of different things that I do here. Hopefully, let's see. So back to the point, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. So yeah, it's so the same thing I see in the leftist media sphere, that these topics that people care about, because it's all it is what this person said. This person said this, that person said that, this person called this person. That's all it is. And like friend of the show, Danny Haifong said, pontificating on, I'm summarizing his tweet, but basically pontificating about other podcasters isn't being a leftist. So I know some leftist media people may get offended by what I'm saying about this, but ask yourself, the person you're watching, are all their content about he said, she said, person said? Do they have any content where they're establishing their beliefs about Medicare for all? Not in a video about somebody else's comment, but just Medicare for all video, police brutality video. Are all their content just he said, she said? So that's, to me, what I see this is. It's like I get up, I go to Twitter, and I see what are people talking about now. It's like another CIA narrative that they have that goes nowhere, that people just pick up and continue to talk about. Hassan Piker is another one that's big on the left. I would not know this person exists if people didn't kept telling me about this person. I would not know he exists. I didn't know he was a streamer. I don't know Twitch people. I don't have a Twitch account. Like, I have a Twitch account for this, but like, I don't know what these people do. I don't listen to them. No serious political person is listening to these people. So why are we discussing them? It's an indication of what you have going on in your life. Now, I might make a comment. Somebody say something, I'll quote tweet. That's it. You won't find one about Vaush. I don't know who that is. I've never watched the show. I don't know that. Or Hassan. Besides the general strike, I don't have any idea what he says. Because there's other stuff going on that's so much more important. What you choose to talk about every day. If I go on your shit, this is how I look at liberals too that follow me. I'll see a blue wave that started following me. I go to there. If I see a bunch of Lincoln Project retweet, I see Stacey Abram retweet, I see nothing but Trump this, Trump that, January 6th. Like, I can't take you serious. You don't have anything on your page that's serious. Palestinians are being murdered. People are genocide in Yemen. All on your page is January 6th and Trump. That tells me what you have going on in your life. Because if you had a wage problem, some of your tweets are going to be about wages. but you have a comfortable life, so you're talking about bullshit stories because you can't go in depth about $15 minimum wage. You're making $30 an hour. So don't get it. Just don't get it. Don't. So much more other issues. Say what you got to say about Joe Rogan and be over it. Move on to the important stuff that's happening. Black people still getting shot in beds, in their own beds. And y'all are talking about Joe Rogan. Let's move to something else, because I just don't get this phenomenon of, they're putting these stories out for us to just follow along to, and that's what we do. Exactly what they want us to do, creating this divide over a person, over a singular person. People are losing friendships over a singular person that you don't know and don't know you. The absurdity of American discourse. So let's get to the Shaq video. So Shaq, we're moving on. So Shaq was on a radio show, and not, like he was coming out to say, have his comments on mandates. It's just that it was in in the discussion, it came out what he thought about it. And that's what I want to play here. Let me share the video. Wow, I need a haircut. Oh, shoot. Okay, I don't know who the person this is, whose video this is, if this is a good or bad person or a person that's conservative. I just saw the video and I got it. So
I'm gonna get fired.
So let's listen.
Look, I encourage everybody to be safe and take care of your family. I do. But there's still some people that don't want to take it, and you shouldn't have to be forced to take something that you don't want. So
I don't think people are being forced to take. Well, there are some. There are. I mean, listen, we have a mandate at CBS.
That's force.
We have a mandate at CBS. But my point.
That's force.
But where I wholeheartedly.
That's force.
No, it's not force.
It is force, because if the man don't take it, the man gonna get fired. Look, I encourage everybody to be
all right.
safe and take care of your family. I do. But it's
I
still
will.
some people that
I'm
don't
allowing
want
it to play
and
again, and I'm going to stop her where I want it
something
to.
that you don't want. So
I don't think people are being forced to take. Well, there are some. There are. I mean, listen, we have a mandate.
She had to catch herself there. So mandates are not forced. I guess you can say it's coerced. No, that's forced. I mean, there's no other way around it.
Mandate at CBS.
That's force.
We have a mandate at CBS. But my point.
That's force.
But where I wholeheartedly.
That's force.
No, it's not.
You see how she didn't. He said it multiple times and was trying to skip past it, and he kept saying it, so she had to address
Not
it.
force.
It is force, because if the man don't take it, the man gonna get fired. Look, I encourage.
So is that forced? In the comments, is that forced? If you have a mandate and you are a single person, 2 kids, single mom with 2 kids, with a job that you need, you don't want to take it now, but there's a mandate by your job, and if you don't get it, you'll be fired. Is coercion like this, does that rise to the level of being considered forced? I guess that's the question. But people are shocked that, I guess that Shaq is saying this. I I don't understand why it's so shocking to be like people should have a free will to do what they want. I don't get that. Like, I'm pro-vaccination. I have all the vaccinations I got as a kid, as an adult. I got all these vaccinations, not against vaccinations, just simply against forcing people to do it. To me, nothing supersedes freedom. And the true testament of freedom is the ability of free will, the ability to choose. And to me, nothing abridges freedom, not even a pandemic. No. So for those who are pandemic, people are dying. Even a pandemic, for me, doesn't abridge, doesn't adjust freedom, true freedom, which is the ability to choose. That's as simple to me. It's not in no vaccination. I don't care about none of that. Like, I care about it, but I'm saying it, for me, the argument isn't the specific vaccination. What's in it? None of that stuff. It's simply people should have the ability to pick. That's it. So, let's see this person here. The revolution continued blog, but Shaq is just making more paranoid, and people only hear that I'm being forced to protect my neighbor by becoming vaccinated. So he's not. Wait, let me read that again. Maybe I'm reading it too quickly. But Shaq is just making more paranoid, and people only hear. So let me see up to that. So by Shaq's comment, you're saying they're only hearing I'm being forced to protect my neighbor by becoming vaccinated. So he's not. I don't understand this argument that a person who doesn't believe in a mandate can't express that he doesn't want a mandate. And because if he says it, other people may say, I don't want to take the shot. The repercussions or the fallout of free speech is irrelevant. So if people decide to go off what Shaq says, like, think of how weak-minded that is. That people can't even say phrases because we're so weak-minded that we're just going to be convinced to do all kind of dumb shit because we're that weak-minded. This is the premise behind Russiagate. That Americans are so weak-minded that some ads on Facebook got Donald Trump elected instead of Hillary Clinton being a terrible candidate. We have to stop being so weak or having not enough confidence intellectually. We have to stop doing that. We're so afraid of words and talking. Just it's bizarre to me. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre to me. So anyway, to me, this shouldn't be a big deal, but I guess it was a big deal. I saw a bunch of people address it, so I wanted to kind of address it. So yeah, let's see. Let's head to the next story here. Let's see what I covered. I covered Joe Rogan. I covered Cenk. I covered Shaq. All right, let's get to Pramila Jayapal. So likely I will go a little bit over the hour. I see it's 10 minutes left in the hour already. So, and I know I'm not going to be done by then. So let's pull up the next item I want to share here. Pramila Jayapal, where is that tweet? I thought I put it. Oh, here it goes. All right, so let me share my quote tweet of her tweet, and we'll get into this brief discussion here. Oh, right here. Thank you for those watching. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. A funny thing happened when we did our General Strike Summit. For those who don't know what it was like a labor summit. Before that, we were getting about 1,100 subscribers every month consistently, like 8 or 9 months in a row. And then mysteriously, we have this summit, and then literally the next day, just subscribers stop and people start, oh, I was subscribed to you and now I was unfollowed. So make sure you're following us or subscribe to us. If you're not, subscribe to us if you like our content. Like this video so other people can see, and thank you. So let's get back to this topic here. So this is my tweet here. Oh, look, more so-called progressive shielding for corporate Democrats. Do you think Pramila doesn't know Chantel's support is virtue signaling? Pramila knows this is performative, yet she still gives her props. And this is the tweet here. Now, I see this as a direct problem, or as a sign that either Pramila is going to stay out of this race between Chantel and Nina, or she's going to support the corporate candidate Chantel. This tweet is giving her cover. Now, policy-wise, what they say out of their mouths, Pramila Jayapal and Nina Turner should be on the same page. So the question for me becomes, why would Pramila decide to give cover to Chantel for coming on board as a co-sponsor, knowing that this is just virtue signaling, similar to what Kamala Harris did? Why would Pramila do that? Where Chantel can go to progressives. What do you mean? I'm progressive? I think she's a chair. Pramila, the progressive chair. Look at this tweet she sent out about me. Why would you do that? Unless you have no plans on helping Nina Turner, campaigning with Nina Turner, taking sides with Nina Turner against the corporate candidate. But we want to elect more progressives so they can do this type of stuff. Give Joe Biden an A, too. You can't, like, Medicare for All is now officially co-sponsored by 118 bullshitters. That's what that should be changed to. Medicare for All is now officially co-sponsored by 118 pieces of shit who aren't going to do nothing. Fixed it. So glad to have Rep. Chantel Brown on board as we build this movement to finally guarantee healthcare as a human right. There you go. Helped it out. Helped you out. Just terrible. Like, do you think Jayapal does not know that this is just virtue signaling? Do you really think that? Oh, let me see what she said. Did she say anything good? I didn't know this. I pulled this up not knowing this. Jen Perelman. It's easy for corporate-owned reps to co-sponsor a non-corporate bill they know will never get a floor vote. Support Nina Turner for Congress in Ohio 11 because we're tired of being gaslit. So this is fairly a good comment from Jen. Fairly a good comment. I still follow her, even though she still follows me, even though the whole thing that happened between us. Because to me, having a disagreement, having an argument doesn't mean I need to stop following you. I'm not that person. That's not how I operate. So, so she's saying something good here in a sense, because there's issues with Nina Turner also, but at least you're staying politically, intellectually consistent by going for Nina Turner. So I get that, and that's who Jayapal should be doing too. You would think, right? So let's see who else is on. Who else? Oh, people are still making comments, I guess. Let me see if it's anyone else I recognize or any other good comments. Oh, let's see here. But so what Jen did point out is that you can have a million co-sponsors on a bill they know it's going absolutely nowhere. So they can say, I support. Remember, watch my videos on the word support. Stop letting them use the word support. Support means absolutely nothing. It could have, let me make sure this is on the screen. Yeah. It could have 5,000 co-sponsors, and the elites still in bold will never let us have it. If the fact that almost 3/4 of Americans want universal health care isn't convincing enough, this sure won't help. That is a great point. And I do want to play a video. It's sort of non-related, but it talks about this Dr. Michael Racino talks about, I had him on a show about racial politics. He talks about how the government sets up barriers to certain groups so certain groups can't affect any change, can't influence the government. So I thought he put it very well. I want to put that up here because this tweet, let me put it back up. What she's pointing out here is that Americans want this and we're still not getting it because there's a layer, there's barriers to us being able to influence our government, and those barriers are put there on purpose. Let me find the video. I do have it here quickly because I just tweeted it out. Shout out to Dr. Michael Rosino. Had him on a special panel with Professor Zunkas, friend of the show, and Professor Dr. Kareem Patesh. Where is it at? Oh, you know what? It is on Revolutionary Blackout. I have to go to. I'm looking for it on mine. So let's go to Revolutionary Blackout and find this video and play it here. And I think because he eloquently speaks to this, in the context that he was speaking about setting up barriers to influence was people of color barriers to influence, or poor people, like just people at the marginalized people is what he was speaking to. So let's stop that one and share this new one here. I think this one here. Yeah. All right, so this was one of my straight out of politics. The state creates boundaries that include who is deserving. Dr. Michael Racino talks about how the government benefits certain groups over others. I think this is the one. There's another video, but I think this is the one.
Political elites are inherently.
Let me make sure. So,
I mean, in my work, I kind of focus on two big overriding concepts that I think we can fit a lot of different examples into. So on one hand, what the state does, and this is something we've kind of been talking about this whole time, but I basically say that the state creates boundaries. It creates boundaries between people, so those boundaries between groups. The state is literally like legitimating those boundaries. And part of that is also the boundaries of things like social empathy and prestige. So the state is inherently, and political elites are inherently reproducing a sense of who is deserving of the benefits of the state. There are so many ways in which the government benefits groups over others. And so those boundaries are not just about carving out groups, but ensuring that there is a state legitimation behind this sense of deserving, who deserves what. I mean, it's the same way that, you know, if you are a business owner, you can deduct your losses on your taxes, because the assumption is that you are deserving of that money. But if you are simply trying to eat, you are no longer deserving. Even though you could be a business owner who is horrible at running a business, runs it into the ground.
I think that was a great point. Just imagine if people
I
were
mean, in my work, I kind of
Oops.
focus on two
pause
big.
that. Just imagine if people were treated like businesses were treated. But that's not the video I was looking for to prove the point about not being able to influence the government. It's this video here. So let's play this one.
Reinforced by the state. And I also think we do have a fundamental sort of empathy gap that's being reinforced by the state. And I also think on top of that, what happens is that people from within the state, the political elites that we're talking about, they also like to erect and maintain barriers to who is able to influence the state. So on one hand, it's about who benefits. On the other hand, it's about who can influence this sort of decision about who benefits. So that's where we have the other side of it, where we see things like massive forms of political participation suppression taking place, both in terms of people. You know, I definitely think there's something about the way that people become perhaps traumatized, although I probably wouldn't use that language, but perhaps, you know, demotivated, disempowered. But also it just in terms of how difficult structurally it is to influence the outcomes. So you can have a policy like Medicare for All, for instance, which is widely popular and would widely benefit the majority of the public. But because there are so many barriers to the actual public, particularly people who have the most to gain from those types of programs, because there are so many barriers to them influencing the actual decisions that elites make, and because there is so much erosion of alternatives, both the alternatives we can imagine, but even the alternatives that are presented to us, those two things are reinforcing one another. There's kind of a feedback loop going on. So if you have this exclusion taking place, it means that you basically...
I think you get the point, is that the people who would benefit the most, for example, that the example he gave with Medicare for All, has the least ability to influence the government. We're talking poor people. We're talking trans people. We're talking LGBTQ community. We're talking, you know, urban community. We're talking like rural whites. You don't really have an ability to influence the government because we don't have the capital. What influences our government is donations by the hundreds of thousands and millions. So if you don't have that, we don't have the ability to influence government, even though there's a policy that's widely approval, or has wide approval amongst all parties, all political backgrounds, but we still can't get it because the vast majority of people don't have the capital to influence policy. So I can take that off. So anyway, I believe that was the Jayapal topic. She picks the corporate candidate over the quote unquote progressive candidate. And it's terrible. So let's now go to the next topic, and I'll share the next video. And we've all seen it. It's the Ned Price video. Him just looking like a complete idiot in this, I guess, news conference where he's trying to propagandize people, and somebody's like, well, wait a minute here. But let's put this exchange up here. This is from The Hill. Let me pause it, make it bigger here for everybody. All right, here we go.
Thanks. Okay, well, that's quite a mouthful there. So you said actions such as these suggest otherwise. Suggest meaning they suggest they're not interested in talks and they're going to go ahead with some kind of what action are you talking about?
One, the actions I've just pointed to. The fact that Russia continues to engage in disinformation campaigns.
You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what I have just said, that they have engaged.
For a person to have come up out of the CIA ranks, as this person has, it's so unbelievable how bad he is at being a liar.
In disinformation.
Like you could, he has so many tails in his face and giving away what he's thinking.
You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what
that was a tell. What we know, Matt. Anytime somebody says what we know, that means they're not answering your question. That means they're not answering your question. You ask somebody a question, and then they say what we know, and you're not getting an answer to your question.
In disinformation
campaigns. You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they?
Oh, I missed that tale. I missed that tale.
The fact that Russia continues.
When he says the word allegation, he looks down.
Used to engage in disinformation
campaigns. You made an allegation that they might.
Yeah, you saw that. This guy has got to get better at this.
What we know, Matt, is what I have just said, that they have engaged in this activity, in this planning activity. But let me.
You notice he understands what this guy is asking, but he knows he doesn't have the information. He's like, what we know is what I just said. They're engaging in this, and the guy is clearly saying, how do you know you engaged? They engaged in this. Tell us what that evidence is. He knows what he's asking, but he doesn't have that evidence because he's lying.
Let me because obviously this is not the first time we've made these reports public. You'll remember that just a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry, made what report public?
If you let me finish, I will tell you what report we made public. We told you a few weeks ago that we have information indicating Russia also has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag.
That's the report. That him just saying it is the report. And he's going to confirm that later. Watch this.
Operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken.
Like, that is so bad, bro. That's so bad. You're in the CIA and you can't handle this?
In Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken.
That is such a tale. That is such a tale right there. Like, come on, let me get this lie out, guy.
But you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they? I mean, this is like
okay.
Russia.
I am not at all professional at any of this stuff of analyzing. I'm just doing what I do. Okay, how I look at stuff, and I'm telling you an insight on how I look at things and what I say to myself. Okay, but I'm noticing this person keeps blinking when he says the word evidence.
Has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really. This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into. what
guy is
evidence do you have
terrible.
to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Matt, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay. Well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
I might have to stop it here. I can't. Like, this guy is clearly, he understands exactly what he's asking, and he's just choosing. He's just choosing to do this because he knows he's lying. But they're so used to people just regurgitating their CIA bullshit lies and not asking more questions. It's like, come on, man. I just want to get through this, man. Let me just get through this lie, man. I don't know Alex Jones enough to know that. He's another person I don't know well. I've never heard his content. I just know people say he's bad, and that's it. But he says Alex Jones doesn't lie as much as this guy, and that's probably true. And I don't even have to know Alex Jones to know that. Yeah. Let me see if there's any other comments here. But he's pretty terrible at hiding this. But nobody's buying this narrative about see, there's a joke. Nobody's buying this narrative about the Ukraine and Russia aggression. Nobody's buying it. And it's painful, not painful, but painful in a way that it's almost funny and comical to see the Biden administration trying to hang on to this to improve their numbers. Let's see, Russia, war. Absolutely. I think I'm gonna move on from this. This person is pretty despicable. He's from the State Department. I don't know what else you need to know about that. But anyway, let's see what other topics. I'm just 13 minutes over what I thought it was trying to keep. So we went Joe Rogan, we went Cenk, we went Shaq, we went Pramila, we did Ned Price, Sandra Bland. Let's go ahead and honor Sandra Bland. There's a couple of one second here. There is a couple of, not a couple, but there's a hashtag. Or actually, there's a couple of hashtags. We'll click on one of them. Actually, here we go. Sandra Bland. It's a couple that we tweeted out on the main account, Twitter account for RBN. So let's cover that. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So this one, today we celebrate the life and legacy of Soror Sandra Bland. Oh, this must be a sorority. It is right here. Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. Sandra Bland. So happy birthday to beautiful Sandra Bland. Just terrible stuff. Another post here. Often people taken by state-sanctioned violence are remembered only in grief. Today we celebrate Sandra Bland, whose sister described her as extremely spontaneous, spunky, truly filled with joy, and pledged to fight for a more just and joyful world in her honor. So Sandra Bland, absolutely. So shout out to Sandra Bland. And let me just see if there's one more. Could be one more. Yeah, one more here. So Movement Strategy Center, happy heavenly birthday, Sandra Bland. Sandra would have been 35 today, and then a bunch of hashtags. So yeah, Sandra Bland. Happy birthday to Sandra Bland. So let's stop that there. I'm not going to do the Hassan Piker story because I actually would have to read about it, you know, because I don't know much. I just heard he bought a car or something, and you got to stop caring about these people's lives, man. Who cares? Really, that's why I'm not doing this story. I really don't care what's happening to that guy. Like that, to me, him buying a car makes me not want to know about him even more. Like, buy a Camry and use the rest of the money to help some people. Yeah. So anyway, we have come to the end of the first episode. Hour and 15 minutes. Maybe it'll be roughly around there in the future. I will be back on today or later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern with Nick for the Nick and CJ show. Make sure you check us out for that. We'll get the stream up and all the information, the topics, and everything up soon. So 8 p.m. Eastern, Nick and CJ show tonight. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if the International Leftists will be back. And then Wednesday is, tomorrow, every day. I forgot. I'm doing this every day. So every day at 3 p.m., I'll be here with you for about an hour, maybe a little bit less than an hour, just to cover the topics like today. Just going to be hitting bullet points, covering all some of the topics that I've seen in the left conversation, leftist sphere, and we'll address those. Okay, so let's get to some comments before we leave. I'm not going to leave by putting a bunch of comments on here. I do see. Thank you for your super chat, Rose to Power Off the Record. Really do appreciate that. And great stream. Thank you. You're my favorite. Thank you, Valerie. Really do appreciate that. Cheers for the stream. Thank you. So this is what I want to try to do every day is come here, just briefly kind of discuss a bunch of topics and, check in with everybody, see how everybody's doing. Let's get some comments. Did you already do this? I did. So just rewind to the beginning and you'll be able to see me cover Cenk. Oh, I didn't cover this part. Do we think he's doing it on purpose? Like, do we think he took the money and he's actively trying to shield for the things that Democrats believe in? Like, is he making a conscious choice? Yes. So then I think he is. I think then we can say he is doing it on purpose. Because the question was, is he doing it on purpose? Meaning, is he buying into the Democratic propaganda also? So he's believing it, drinking the Kool-Aid, so he's trying to pass the Kool-Aid on? Or do you think, he's just a grifter knowing exactly well what he's doing? Somebody says he's CIA. I've heard that several times before. So, but the rest of my comments about Cenk, you can catch in the beginning of the stream. Just retweet. What happened to Sandra? Yes, what happened to Sandra was horrific. Happy birthday to her. Absolutely. The cop said that he would light her up if she didn't get out of the car. Her life like that, and that's how he describes her. Just terrible. So let's see any other comments. I see people discussing Alex Jones. Happy birthday to Sandra. I see that there. This person says that same reporter that was talking to Ned Price is always hard, I guess. President asked to stop. Okay. President asked to stop the talk of war on an account of economy tanking. I want to make sure I don't miss some of the more in-depth comments here. Cenk is purposely representing CIA talking points. He said he wasn't for war in Syria when he was. I think people get corrupted. Maybe he went in with a good idea and then again. How do you go from Republican to progressive? Like, what happened? Unless you're bullshitting. Because you would go Republican to maybe liberal to maybe progressive. But to jump like that just means you're really just a liberal with a couple of edgy leftist beliefs. So now you want to be labeled leftist. So we live in a world where you can self-label. How many models are on Instagram because they say they're a model? How many rappers are on Instagram because they say they're a rapper? You self-identify. So if you're able to self-identify as a leftist, as a socialist, and you're not, it damages the understanding. Outside of that, I don't care, but it does damage the understanding of the word and the concept. So, but I'm going to keep rambling on if I don't get off of here. Thank you for everybody watching. Thank you for Rockfin. Actually, let me go on Rockfin and see if there's any comments or anything. Any comments here? Let's see. Reverend, I should receive the. Oh, there's the tips. Oh, I see Robin on Rockfin. Thank you, Robin. Got to support anti-war. Okay, so I saw the comments there. Thank you for all the tips earned on Rockfin. Thank you for that, and thank you for those super chats on YouTube. I'm sorry, I was getting mixed up here on the screens on YouTube, and I think the other stream is on Twitter. So this week, I think I'm going to be switching to Rockfin. Always. I'm not sure if I have an audience on Facebook, so I'm going to switch to Rockfin. Outside of that, everybody take care. I'll see you tonight at 8:30, and I'll see you also tomorrow, same time tomorrow, 3 p.m., talking about some of the topics that is on Twitter, that's hot on Twitter, that's trending, that is in the leftist sphere. I'm Compton J, and I'm going to be signing off. Thank you for joining me for the first episode of You Left Shit Out.